going on, friends, and welcome to the channel. So in this video I'd like to talk about what I think is probably one of the most important things to do before you start a model. Now this is more kind of a preference type sort of thing. I'm not saying this is something you have to do. Obviously it all depends on how you want your model to be finished. So basically it's research. It's as simple as that. Now obviously it says this all depends on how you want your model to be finished. Now I like mine to be, you know, considerably heavily weathered, and I like them to look as realistic as possible. Now like I said, it's not how everybody wants to have their models finished, and I completely understand that, and like everything else doing this hobby, it's down to your personal preference. But if you want to go down the realistic route, you really do want to do some heavy research. Now one of the hardest things with some of the research is particularly older aircraft and vehicles, sort of stuff like First and Second World War. These can be quite difficult to be able to get your hands on, because of course when you do research, half the time, you know, you put in, you know, something like Hurricanes or Spitfires or Mustangs or whatever, you will tend to get more modern photos. Now you can actually still use some of these, but obviously they're kept generally, you know, clean and quite well maintained. If you wanted to be looking sort of more like wartime, then you need to go, you know, harder in your research and a little bit more specific to try and find what you are looking for. Now for an example, I'm going to use a Spitfire because it's literally the only photo I have as a reference that is mine. So for example, this Spitfire, which I took even of a Spitfire of the belly, and you can see all those oil stains coming out of it. Now this is why you need to be sort of looking at your reference photos, because particularly with stuff like oil on an aircraft, this stuff seeps out from any orifice possible. You'd be surprised in a lot of places where oil actually will come from. Now of course most of the time you'll think, oh it's going to come from here because that's where the, you know, this part of the oil will be in, part of the engine area sort of thing, and I says it's amazing of areas this stuff will come out of. As well as, you know, that you want to be maybe looking at exhaust stains. Again, you can still use some modern references because you will still see some like this Sky Raider. You know, you can see the heavy exhaust stains that's come out of it, and I think part of the reason why on a modern version they've kept it because it's kind of an iconic weathered part of the aircraft. You will nearly always see a Sky Raider with this big thick black exhaust stain, you know, trailing down the side of the aircraft. So again, you want to be looking at older photos, trying to find old reference photos for that sort of thing. But again, it says you can still use some of the more modern ones. Now one of the big arguments with weathering, and this is more of a pre-weather than later weathering, is pre-shading. Now I know a lot of people don't like this. I occasionally use it, 9 times out of 10 whether I can be bothered to do it or not. But there is massive arguments of whether it should be there or it shouldn't. Now again, this is a preference thing, but again it depends on how you want the model to look like. Now again, I'm going to use aircraft because I have a actual reference photo that's mine I can use. And if we look at this Hercules, now admittedly this Hercules has been out for a number of years now, and you can see it's very heavily weathered and faded. Particularly stuff with like olive and greens, they can fade kind of more dramatically if you like, but as you can see in this photo, you can see all you know, sort of all those panel lines there. So you know, if you want something to look like this, particularly if you want to make your model as, you know, it's come out of service and it's been sat there for even a day, and you know, it's just been left to rot, then you know, stuff like this is a good reference photo to use. But again, like I says, it's all very depends on how you want your model to be finished. Now Stuff like chipping on aircraft, you will need to go to original photos from the war. You're not really going to see this sort of chipping on, you know, flying examples today, because again, like I said, they're kept in really, really good condition. As where the old ones, you know, they don't get to see, you know, a spray booth probably ever after they first come out of the factory. So, you know, you want to be looking at these old photos to see where the chipping needs to go. A lot of it is kind of common sense, you know, stuff like round panels that are going to be removed more often, so stuff like gun bay panels, engine panels, even some of the smaller ones like fuel, oil and glyco filler points. You know, of course, you know, if you trying to get this stiff, you know, screw that's in there and the screwdriver slips, you're obviously going to get a scratch on that particular area. Some of the most heavily chipped areas are going to be walkways, so obviously these are the areas that where the pilot, you know, steps onto the aircraft and, you know, up the side of the cockpit and into the cockpit. With stuff like that, you'll probably find that one side, so it's going to be basically the left hand side, will be probably more weathered on the walkway as opposed to the right hand side, you know, because you might just be getting, you know, crew, maintenance crew on that side on odd occasions. But of course, on the left hand side, you know, you're going to get crew and the pilot getting in, you know, relatively regular. Now, if you are into doing your armour, reference photo to this is actually a little bit easier. Because of course, armour is steel, it tends to rust after it's been chipped. Now, you do have to be very mindful on the type of steel that was used on vehicles, because you will get different, you know, sort of types of weathering and rusting on these. But if you just want to get, you know, an idea of how, you know, a very heavily chipped area of metal, and obviously water's continuously run off it, it's going to start making it to rust, and you just want to know how that rust sort of kind of reacts and how it runs. These ones are a lot easier to get your hands on. You can find them pretty much anywhere. Stuff like skips, general metalwork, around anywhere. You know, it's a lot easier, you know, to come across. I mean, even some museums, you know, some of the tanks and vehicles have been left outside for quite a while, so you can easily snap some of them photos up as well. Even stuff for like paint chipping, you can find these again very easily. Again, skips, they're great for this because they are battered to high hell. They're used pretty much daily and they're carted around all over the place, so they're great for, you know, both the rust and the paint chipping. Even some museums that have left vehicles, even some aircraft in their original states, you can see how the paint chips. You know, if you can get down to, and if you're in the UK, I know for definite, if you can get down to Bovington Tank Museum, a lot of their vehicles are generally in relatively original condition, so again, you can see how they've weathered over time. But again, most of it is a lot of trawling through the internet, but you can also have a look at other modelers, particularly very experienced modelers. You know, they have also going to have done their research, and you can sort of gauge on, you know, some of their models how, you know, stuff has been chipped. Even mine, not that I'm saying I'm an experienced modeler, but even some of my stuff, you know, all my stuff has been done through prior research. If it's not, or if I haven't found a photo of what I'm thinking of or wanted to do, you know, is there, then it won't go on, you know. But again, that's my personal preference. I like to get mine as looking as accurate and realistic as possible, but like I said at the start, it's all down to personal preference, you know. But you can still use all this if you just want to put just a little bit of light weathering on. Again, just search it and see what you reckon. But if you don't care and you feel it's going to look good, and it does look good in the end, so what? You know, it's your model, you do it the way you want to do it, and as long as you enjoy it, that is literally all that matters. So I hope you guys have found this little short video useful. if you like, please screenshot any of these pictures that you see on screen. They're all mine, so you can use them if you like. But again, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's helped you guys out ever so much. If you have enjoyed it and you haven't done so already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It helps greatly. If you'd like to support further, there are links in the description as well. So guys, again, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.